filter. Something new I'm trying out. I want to touch on different subjects, not just consciousness, not just my crazy crypto parallel theories, not just Bitcoin, not just this. I want to touch on life too, because I see patterns. And that's mainly why I'm really here, because I want to call out the patterns. I want to bring light to the patterns, maybe help somebody. So I introduced the filter. Not like how you trying to type a command on a computer. You can keep, depending on what file you go into, you can keep filtering through it. So this time I want to talk about, you've got to filter through authenticity. And the way you do that is, you keep showing up. You keep showing up and you keep being consistent. The more you're consistent, the more you're going to see who's there for you or not. And looking back right now, people might think I'm being funny. Not necessarily. I do the Bashar method. I'm not a metaphysician. I shift so much that it kind of causes me to accelerate too quick. And next thing you know, I'm over here, I'm over there, I'm over here, over there. But I'm not click hopping. No. My stuff is a spiritual journey. It literally caused me to be in a lot of places and to leave those places when my filter comes on. I say this ain't right. The energy's not matching. So we can filter by authenticity and we can take it to the frequency. But one thing I'm noticing is the biggest thing with filtering for authenticity and showing up, it's like playing music. It's like the in between the notes, the gaps. And I ain't like I'm Mozart, but in general, those gaps show you who's who. And I ain't saying people got to show up for you every day. It's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying look for the people that sometimes. Look for the people that only show up at certain times and say certain things. Like sometimes I only say certain things. And then sometimes when I do that, only certain things come out. So I say all that to say, sometimes you gotta be on the lookout. You gotta be on the lookout for how certain people respond when you say certain things. Have certain people respond when you comment. Have certain people respond when you show up and put out your energy. Have certain people respond and see how they fill those gaps. Because speaking from experience, those gaps let me know who's who. And I've seen it with me, and I've seen it with my homie Digital. I've seen it with T. I've seen it with a lot of people. Not that they were leaving the gaps, but that I see some of the most supportive people in the space. Even a lot of people. I see some of the most supportive people in the space. They're there for everybody. And sometimes I see when people leave the gaps open. But the gaps for me are an indicator. Just like I used to talk about real life TA. The gaps for me are indicators. Because the gaps tell me when you're really putting out real authenticity, real God frequency, you're going to agitate people. Sometimes, outside of your real rounds, a lot of people ain't going to want to show up for you. But with the mission that we into, and for what we're doing, that's what we signed up for. We signed up for the mission. I'm not going to lie, I didn't know that all that came with it. But I'm glad that things filter that way. Because it makes me happy. It makes me happy that I can see who's who. And then it makes me happy to see authenticity in people that I never expected. Like shout out to Digital. Digital came out, like I think in the past, 2 or 3 weeks, a month maybe. He came out repping harder than anybody ever met. Innovating. And then you also see it like in his craft. His craft is next level. And the frequency of it is increasing. And then everybody that's around him, from Elijah to Mr. Mac to Modern to King Cash, can't forget about Joints, like all these people, it's just become such a solid network of people. And that's just one example. That's just my online example. I got plenty of examples of good people. And then, but those gaps get filled by authenticity. So you gotta be patient. You gotta filter. Because sometimes what you're doing, what you're trying to build, is not gonna be found in big groups. It's not gonna be found. It might not be in a group. It it might just be you in the circle. And sometimes you might have to reduce your circle to a dot. I've did this so many times over my life. I've reduced my circle to a dot where it's just me in solitude. A lot of people probably wondering where I get a lot of my intuition from, my wisdom from, and things like that. Not to be arrogant, but it came from solitude. I sat with myself so long, I just started picking it all up. I started cracking the codes and continuously crack the codes. No pats on back. I'm just saying. Sometimes that circle become a dot, and then when that dot expand back out, you be patient, you start filling up with the right people. But it didn't start instantly. It took like, I've been in crypto, and let me just talk about from a crypto perspective, because communities, groups, accelerated environments, and things like that. I've been in that thing for 1.5 years, and even when I thought I found the authentic people, they disappeared or they dipped out. But I said, you know what? I don't care who here. I'm gonna keep pressing on my journey. And as I kept pressing on it, now I see when the universe rewards you with authenticity and it rewards you with real people. And I like that so much. I like just staying in that energy, keeping that same energy. Evolving the energy, but keeping that same energy. And the more I evolve it, the more I understand. You gotta stay in authenticity. When you stay in authenticity, the right things come and surround you. The real ones come and surround you. And that's why I champion the people I champion. Whether it's Bitcoin, or it's crypto, or it's Web3, or it's at the gym, or it's motivation, or it's like people DMing me asking me for what's the next book, what's the motivation. We the motivation. I hope I can be the motivation for you, because you're the motivation for me. And we can keep pulling up the real ones. And I ain't talking about the people that just say they're the real ones. I'm talking about the ones that the creator appoints. If you can keep letting those people get pulled up and then they surround each other, you can't lose. And that's really what the point is. Stay in authenticity. Use it as your filter. Mind those gaps. If people don't show up, so what? Keep being authentic. Keep telling the truth. Stay on people's neck. Mind those gaps. Mind the set.
Time, 10 minutes, 44 seconds. Distance, 1 mile. Average pace, 10:44 per mile.
I take that as a confirmation, but I'm normally not that slow. Keep minding everything. Compound everything. And you're going to find your people. 1.